The following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. It is 4:02 p.m., time for the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN 96.3 FM. Got a text message from our guest for the day, Mayor Tracy Welch, saying he was busy doing mayoral things and might be a few minutes late, but here he is. Look at you. You're on time and on schedule. So
How about that?
So welcome. Thanks for being here. First Tuesday of the month, as usual. Folks, if you have questions or comments for the mayor, 217-648-5510, the number to call. You can also email your questions or comments if you don't want to be on the air, 4 p.m. 411 at WLCNonline.com. Well, have you been up to much since I last spoke with you?
A little bit.
A little bit. Want to dive in any particular order? Or,
doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Looks like we've got pretty much the same agenda. Is it agendas or agendai? But either way. Coffee with the Mayor coming up. Folks I notice on Facebook, and it's interesting to me, folks are always saying, I'd love to learn more about what's going on. I'd love to, voice some feedback, et cetera, but you've been doing these events for, it's been over a year, maybe close to 2.
A couple of years now.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why the word isn't getting out, so let's put it out there. Once again, it's a bi-monthly event, so once every other month.
Yep.
And you will come in, buy the first cup of coffee at least for constituents who want to stop by and talk to you about any particular issue, problem, rumor, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And this month, I believe it is July 12th is the date.
12th at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Still conflicts with the cheap seats.
It does, but yeah. One day we'll join forces, and it'll just be an amazing coffee with the mayor / cheap seats extravaganza. So, do you know who your co-guests are going to be at this point yet?
I do not at this time, but it seems appropriate that maybe I'd invite our new tourism director to join us, given the activity going on with tourism. So I'll probably invite him, and then we'll grab one of our council members that's available and interested to join as well.
Sure. And those, once again, are at Guest House Coffee and Pastries in downtown Lincoln. Start at 9. Scheduled to wrap up at 10, but as you've said, if your schedule allows and if folks are interested, you're more than willing to stay beyond that 1 hour time limit. So.
Yeah. When we get to around the 10:30 mark, people tend to have other things to do, so we wrap it up 10:30 or so.
I can see that. So, and you mentioned the new tourism director as being a potential cohort there for that event, so that's a nice segue into tourism for the city of Lincoln. We talked, I think the last time you were here, I don't think anything official I think there was a consultant who had been hired. It had been decided that much. Yep. And then in the meantime, since then, obviously that individual, his name has been out and about a bit more. There was also the purchase of State Bank, the building on Broadway Street there, which all sorts of, feedback and rumors and so forth showed up on social media about that. Yeah. So I don't know, let's just start with tourism for the city of Lincoln in general.
Sure.
So what has transpired since the last time you were here and where things stand today?
Yeah, so the gentleman we hired, Scott McCoy, he's actually going to be on Viewpoint tomorrow morning, I believe, with Dara.
Correct.
And those who don't know Scott, he's actively involved in Atlanta, has been in Pontiac before. So a lot of the tour buses and the successes you see up in Atlanta, he's very involved in that, and we're trying to bring part of that down to Lincoln and his knowledge and expertise. But yeah, we're trying to stand up a City of Lincoln tourism department. It's really officially been stood up. We've hired Scott. We're functioning now as though we're running a department. We're still having side conversations with the county, though, because they're working through some issues there. Sure. But you did mention the State Bank building, and the council has agreed to approve the State Bank building, the purchase of that. Mm-hmm. So we have some exciting big plans for that building, and we're working through the details.
Sure. Okay. Well, one of the things, and you mentioned Mr. McCoy is the tourism director. That is because last time we spoke, he was a consultant. Is he beyond consultant and now officially the director?
Well, similar to Andrew Bounds with our wastewater treatment operation. He works for Veolia, so it's a separate company, and they are consultants to the city and run operations. But for all intents and purposes, he's our department head. When we have wastewater issues, he's the guy we go to. Similar situation with Scott and tourism.
Okay, because I had seen there was a advertisement for a county tourism director. There is no advertisement now for a city tourism director. That position is essentially filled, right?
Yeah, that confused some people. This is part of what's going on the side with the Logan County Tourism Bureau. Mm-hmm. So the Logan County Tourism Bureau has decided that they would like to continue to try to operate, right. And they're operating now out of the mill. Mm-hmm. And so their executive director had submitted their resignation, right. And they need someone to run the operation, so they've put out that position as well. So I believe they actually have had some interviews regarding that already. So there is an interest, but whoever this person is, in some capacity, we're not sure what that looks like. I'm sure that they'll work with Mr. McCoy.
Sure, absolutely. So what do you foresee as sort of the biggest, or what was sort of the impetus for this change? Because Logan County tourism has been around for a while, and before that, Chamber of Commerce, and we talked about last time how about there can't foreseeably be a Chamber of Commerce of Lincoln again due to the financial issues from the previous entity that existed. So what is it that sort of sparked your interest in, okay, let's go ahead and do this right now?
Well, I think the big fact is, if you just look at the monetary aspect of it, between the contribution from the city, which somewhere around $200,000 a year, and then other grants they get, let's just say they're operating at $250,000 a year. The question is, when you see and think about Lincoln tourism, do you believe that that's a $250,000 program that's running?
Right.
And after an audit was performed at the Bureau, we looked at it, and there's an awful lot of money that's being spent before we even get to the job of tourism.
Sure.
$126,000 roughly on payroll, $76,000 for digital marketing, but that's a little bit of a topic that has a difference of opinion on the effectiveness of that. And then you've got insurance on all of the assets and things like that. And so by the time you get down to it, much of the money that was being provided by the city was just being ate up in overhead and things like that.
Sure.
So we felt that if we hired a consultant, and Mr. McCoy's salary is $45,000 a year, which is a fraction of what they were paying, and then we're leveraging other city resources, we don't have all that overhead.
Right.
And the city of Lincoln has insurance on all of our buildings, and for us to insure things, it's much cheaper because we have more assets.
Right.
And so we just felt that we could divert some of that money into more cost-effective ways of doing things, but then free up a lot of money to go towards tourism itself.
Okay.
And I think one of the big things that's going to come out of this in the coming weeks is the Tourism Bureau operates really on a marketing strategy,
right.
The current Logan County Tourism Bureau. We would like to come at it from a different angle. We're still going to do some marketing, but we want to build new programs. We want to build attractions and things that people haven't seen before, things that people will get excited about. Like right now, the Lincoln Letters and the Donut have showed up here in town.
Right.
People are excited about that. That's new and fresh ideas. I will say that was the Logan County Tourism Bureau. They got a grant from the state for that. But it's those type of things that we're trying to do.
Sure.
And so that's why we bought the Stank Make building, because of one of those things that we're working on that we believe will actually put Lincoln on the map in different ways. That's a great place to do it.
Sure, absolutely. And before your phone rings off the hook, you mentioned in there about roughly $200,000 being spent by the city. Just to be clear, that's not a budgeted amount. That is revenue from the hotel motel tax, correct?
Yeah, that tends to get some confusion, especially on the social medias. The money, that $200,000 is hotel motel. When somebody comes to Lincoln and they stay in any of our hotels, there's a tax that's imposed on that stay, and that's the money that we receive to operate. It can't be used for roads. It can't be used for anything but tourism.
Now,
so
let me stop you there. Why is that? Is that a state mandate? Is that when the fund was set up by the city, they decided, no, this is only going to go for tourism, or who decides?
That's
why
state.
That money? Okay, so that's a state mandated.
Yep. If we collect that hotel motel tax, I think they call it an occupancy tax. Collecting that occupancy tax, it has to go back into the municipality in which it was generated.
Okay.
So that's also been some, I wouldn't say heated discussions, but some discussions. Spirit is a great word. The fact that we're generating the money in Lincoln, but yet some of the monies that are being given out are going out to other communities outside of Lincoln.
Right.
Now, we need those communities to be successful as well, which is why we've agreed to partner with whatever the future of Logan County tourism looks like.
Sure.
But we'd like a bulk of it to promote our community, get people in off of Route 66 doing more than just taking photos. We want them to stay overnight as a destination. We want them to go into our businesses. We want to do marketing with our businesses. So I'm not saying that Logan County Tourism Bureau isn't doing some of that.
Right.
I'm just saying we have some different ideas, and that's what we'd like to do.
Sure, absolutely. So once again, our guest is Tracy Welch, the mayor of Lincoln. He'll be here until 4:30. So if you have questions or comments about tourism or any other issues, 217-648-5510, the number to call, or you can email those questions, 4pm411 at WLCNonline.com. We'll go ahead and take our first break, and we'll be back with more with Mayor Welch right after this.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 here at WLCN 96.3 FM. Listener lines are open, 217-648-5510. Our guest is Tracy Welch, the mayor of Lincoln. He will be here until roughly 4:30. We before the break, we're talking about tourism, and I think we've pretty much covered as much of that as we can. But here, just from my own spectator perspective, mentioned how Scott McCoy has had success in Atlanta, and obviously if you look on Facebook or social media, you see all the pictures and the groups and the so forth.
Yep.
What is his setup in Atlanta? Like, I know a lot of the pictures focus on the American Giants Museum. Does he have like an office in that facility, or is he downtown, or is that physically?
I believe. Well, I'm sure he does spend quite a bit of time in Atlanta, but his office is at his house in Bloomington. Okay. So he's working in a virtual capacity for us. Mm-hmm. Now, once we get into the bank building, it's likely he'll have an office or space in there to operate when he's in town. But
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Because one of the things that I've seemed to notice is that whenever he is in a picture, it tends to be around the American Youth Giants or a bus full of people. So by my thinking, he must be somewhere at a vantage point where he's able to see those people and welcome them and answer questions, give tours, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So when I heard about the State Bank purchase, that was sort of my thinking was the way things were before, with tourism being at the depot, the county tourism being at the depot. If someone came to downtown and took pictures by the Abraham Lincoln statue, or they went to the mill, or they went to Postville, there wasn't a way for a tourism director to see that and capitalize on it and get to those places, unless I guess we're going to install cameras at all the landmarks in the city so that someone could see it and send out the Batcopter or whatever. But with a centralized location, I think close to downtown, such as the State Bank building is, I would think that would sort of lend itself to more of those social media selfies and pictures and postings and opportunities. So I know obviously there was a spectrum of opinions on that, but in my mind I'm thinking, okay, well, if there's a central location, it's close to downtown, we're trying to promote downtown, we're trying to promote Route 66, which that building would be on, it would seem to me it makes sense for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it does. The reason Scott is in a lot of the photos with the buses is because he's helped arrange a lot of those.
Sure.
And that's another great benefit of Scott is he's good at that. Mm-hmm. And we can build all the attractions we want, but we need people to get people here.
Right.
And so I'm confident Scott will do that. But yeah, and since you brought this up, I think it's worth mentioning. I've had people ask me questions about the depot. Mm-hmm. Yes, we plan to do something with the depot. We don't know what that looks like yet, but the Tourism Bureau itself chose to terminate their lease and move out of that building because there are safety issues up there. Oh. And it's not with the building itself. It's that we get some people that come in there that are wanting to take a nap or use the bathrooms and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there are some people that come in that are cause for concern for some of that staff. Sure. And so we've been working at the city on addressing some of those safety issues because we do need to in order to use that building. Right. We'll still have some sort of presence in there. It's a beautiful building. We want to highlight it. But yeah, I mean, being close to downtown is good. And also, the bank building isn't only going to be used for tourism. It's going to be used for economic development. Sure. And we're in the heart of downtown Lincoln almost with that building. Mm-hmm. And we'd like to run an incubator out of the other side of that so that we can have a central location where people can come and get help with new businesses, but also places where people can start up a new business and do it very cost effectively to see if there's any longevity to what they're proposing. Mm-hmm. Not long term. It's not meant to be leasing office space from anybody. It's meant to incubate businesses for our community. Mm-hmm. It's one of many things that's happened. We've had people approach us with various different ideas about how to use that building, and people are excited about it. I know there's some skepticism about it. It is a purchase of another building, but rest assured, we've done our homework. We've done our due diligence about the costs to operate the building, utilities, taxes, things like that, because we are foregoing some taxes to take on that building. Right. But we believe what we're trying to work on here will actually address that monetary issue. Mm-hmm. And there's a parking lot that came with it in the back that we have some ideas about that so that we can monetize some of that. So this wasn't just a pie in the sky thing that we just threw together and said, let's go buy a building. Right. We did a lot of homework and worked on it for quite a while. Okay.
And speaking of doing homework and visions for things, another I feel like you're a master juggler with all these different balls in the air you're trying to keep afloat. Another thing, working on the LDC grounds and the committee looking at what's going to happen with those grounds. I know there is a committee or a task force that has been formed.
There is.
I saw a couple comments on, I think maybe one was from you about Facebook. Someone asked, what's the input, what are the plans, et cetera, and I think it was you who mentioned that those things are being worked out now. Is there any progress to speak of other than you're just sort of, you've gotten together and you're trying to chart your course here for what will happen next?
Yeah, so I think some of those comments came from a photo that I posted online, or maybe Bill Howder did when we went to lunch after we did a site visit. Mm-hmm. And that was a part of the group that was in that photo, but we tried to get people from various aspects, such as businesses, real estate, the railroad is close to there. Mm-hmm. We've got people from many different fields to provide input. We absolutely want feedback from the community, and if they've got ideas, shoot them to us. I've already had people reach out to me, and then we take it back to the task force and we talk about it. We're looking at all options, quite honestly. It's a big campus out there. It's 75 acres, and we believe that there's at least some longevity or some possibilities with housing, distribution. We've had somebody mentioned a sports complex would be a good place for that out there. I don't know who that would be.
Probably someone that plays a lot of softball.
It could be. I can't remember who that was.
But I mentioned a concert venue too.
Yeah.
At some point.
So we've had a lot of ideas, but we're not just going to throw them on a sheet of paper and let people vote on it.
Right.
We're actually looking at it for what we feel is the best for our community, what will help grow our community, what will help create jobs for our community. So we're looking at it very thoroughly, and that's why there's a broad group. To make a recommendation, we'll take to the council, and then we have members of the governor's office on that task force, and they're guiding us as we go through this process.
All right. And that, I don't know if you can speak to it or not at this point, but do you know what that process looks like? I mean, it sounds like you've got your membership for the committee set, and now looking at possible uses for the facility. What happens next then? Do you discuss and debate those, or do you do some like economic impact studies of, well, if we bring in a sports complex, it might generate this amount, but it might cost this amount, or what does sort of the path forward, or at least sort of the direction forward look like?
Yeah, exactly what you described. I mean, we're going to do impact studies as well on that, but also we're still working through some of the details with the state of Illinois.
Sure.
Because we ask questions like, are you giving us the ground? Well, we have to really look at the projects. There's no clear-cut answers on some of this stuff. So we do have some, we think, quick wins that could at least get that property useful and moving in the right direction, and we're working with the governor's office on those. But that's what the process is. Okay. It's asking a lot of questions, doing impact studies to see what will give us the biggest bang for our buck. I mean, when you think about it, this is, I wouldn't say a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but it isn't going to come again for a very long time. So right. Whatever we do, we got to get right and at least put thought into it.
Sure, absolutely. You'd mentioned, and I've seen comments on social media as well about people wanting to have input or wanting to keep informed about what the committee's up to. Is there any chance, I know you were instrumental, at least I think you were instrumental in live streaming the city council meetings. Is there any chance this group might get to a point where it live streams things out or does virtual things where folks can Zoom in and participate, or do a face or a meeting kind of thing? Or
we haven't really talked about that. I think there's some merit once we get all of the initial legwork done in taking it before the community for feedback and inviting some people to the table as well. I mean, we're doing this for our community, and we want the voice of the community to be part of that. So I think there's merit in doing that. We just haven't reached that point.
Okay. Gosh, I'm comparing our lists here at what we've covered and what we have not covered. You have on your note here sidewalk reimbursement, which is sort of a community betterment task. And what can you tell us about that?
For a very long time, I'll give you the short version. For a very long time, I think it was around $2 per square foot, I believe, of sidewalk reimbursement. So city has a very long list of targets for sidewalks, and if you want the sidewalk in front of your house replaced and you don't want to wait for the city to get to that, then you can actually contract that out. You have to work with the city, but you can do that and get reimbursed up to a certain amount. That number has been outdated for a while. I've talked with Mr. Landers about it, and then Mr. Bateman brought this up, so we just decided to bring it to council. And it's on our voting agenda for next week, is to change that from $2 to $6, because the going rate is actually around 10 to 12.
Oh, wow.
So we're trying to improve that and give people other opportunities and help the city in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you sitting down? We do have some email questions here.
Sure.
These are back, well, this one anyway is about tourism. Since Logan County Tourism has moved to the mill, have there been any talks, or will there be any talks with Logan County Genealogical and Historical Society to possibly move into the depot?
We have kicked that idea around. I think there's been some initial discussions with Mr. McCoy and the Genealogical Society. It seems that there might be some interest in that. We just don't know what that looks like yet. So yes, we have explored that idea.
Okay. Another one, I don't know if this is something you can answer or not, but is the plan moving forward for Mr. McCoy in being the City of Lincoln Tourism Director? Will he also still do perform the same capacity for Atlanta?
My understanding is yes. I don't believe he intends on stepping away from Atlanta.
Okay. And then your comment about the incubator and the State Bank building, is there a possibility of the LEAD program moving into that building or being a part of that process?
That is a possibility.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let me make sure no more came in there. So good questions. Thank you to our listeners. Okay, we're caught up on those. So let's go to LED lighting.
Yep. This isn't as fun as the other topics, but we're constantly trying to find ways to save money for the city. And the gentleman that we're working with on some community solar and the project specifically like for Tremont Bank and El Mazatlan, that gentleman, Justin Chager with the Stone River Group, he was aware of a program through Ameren that if we get with the program, they'll actually provide the hardware and then we pay for the labor. And so we have replaced much of the lighting at the city already through that program. So substantial savings to the city now with having LEDs. It's got timers built in so we don't leave lights on extended periods of time. So we're trying to be cost effective. There was an email today we talked about if we get to that point with the bank, can we upgrade the lighting in the bank? The answer is yes. So already trying to find ways to save money in that building too.
Absolutely. Saw something, well, we are at 4:30, so just two other quick ones. I saw a comment on Facebook from a downtown business that received a TIF grant. I believe it was for some signage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Drew some responses.
Some spirited feedback.
Spirited discussion, yes. Can you kind of, in 30 seconds, kind of tell us about what that TIF program is and who's eligible for it? I'm sure you saw some of the comments about variety of who qualifies or who has received the grants in the past and what I don't know if it's necessarily the criteria, but who has received the grants in the past.
Yeah,
I'll just leave it at that.
That post was from the Overstock outlet, and they're a new business in town, and they applied for our TIF grant. That TIF grant has been in place as long as I've been at the City of Lincoln, which was back in 2016, so almost a decade that program's been going. We fund $50,000 a year into that program. It doesn't get widely used, but people do. It is to address lighting and facades of buildings and signage and things of that nature. Some of the projects you can look at in downtown that are recipients of that is the patio at Gazzardo's with the trifecta. That was a project. The front of the Sorrento's building, that was another project. There's been other projects on Broadway Street that have got the money. It is a program where you can get reimbursed 50-50 up to the cost of the project, which is $20,000, so you would get $10,000 back. And one of the rumors that I'd like to dispel that was in that post is no city council members with businesses have received that grant to the best of our knowledge. I think there might only be one city council member that owns a business downtown, and I don't believe they got a facade, but I mean, if they did, it was for signage, and we extend the offer to all businesses. But also, that's for downtown. That's for the TIF district. We do have another program, because there was some feedback about, well, why don't other businesses in the community get help? We do have a structural improvement grant that we have given hundreds of thousands of dollars to in the past couple of years, and it is for every commercial property in the City of Lincoln. If you'd like to learn more about it, please call City Hall. You can talk to my administrative assistant, Ashley Matoko. She is the manager of that program. She can get you set up with the paperwork.
Okay, very good. So we can do something out here, is what you're saying? Put a big sign?
City of Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
You're a little outside those boundaries.
Just a few miles. So
maybe Atlanta will put a program in place for you.
We can check on that. So why don't we end on a less spirited note, or well-spirited note. Third Friday is coming up, the final one in the series.
Yeah, I believe this one is Shark Week.
It is.
And it is the 19th. Is it the 19th?
Or the 18th.
Or the 18th, yeah. So Friday the 18th, it won't be as big as Nashville Nights. Nashville Nights is always the biggest one.
Sure.
So we usually try to incorporate a water feature. We'll have bouncy houses, music, and all of that stuff. So it's always a good time. Third Fridays is. It's something we can do for the community to give back, and hopefully the weather holds out, and we'll go out again. It's our last one, and then maybe we'll roll into movie nights in the park, because we'd like to redo that one again.
Will there be any sharks present? Like a petting tank or anything? Or
I don't think so. Maybe we could.
maybe we can get Left Shark.
Maybe we can get
Super Bowl
some
halftime show a few years.
Maybe we get someone to dress up like a shark.
Yeah,
there you go.
We'll see what we can do. So, once again, Mr. Mayor, thank you for joining us. We'll see you in, 28 days or 35 days, however the calendar falls.
Yep.
And once again, if you've got questions about tourism and would like to know more about the new director, Scott McCoy, from Lincoln Tourism, he will be on Viewpoint tomorrow with Dara Entwistle. That kicks off at 8 a.m. You can call in. You can also email questions to that show as well. Once again, our thanks to Tracy Welch for being here with us. I am Loyd Kirby, and thank you for listening and watching. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.